This was not a good night for the president. Everything he touched was a loser. Trump hasn't been this embarrassed since he found out there was a Donald Trump Jr. If you're tired of all the losing, fear not, he's got an excuse.
I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted.
Kimmel came out swinging with jokes so sharp they could file FEC paperwork, while Michelle Obama stayed cool enough to freeze a filibuster. Together, they roasted Trump and JD Vance like they were hosting a bipartisan intervention. Kimmel brought the flames, Michelle brought the finesse, and the whole segment felt like democracy's version of couples therapy, minus the forgiveness.
It was a tough night personally for the vice president. JD Vance's half-brother, I didn't even know JD Vance had a half-brother, but he does. VD Vance lost his bid to become mayor of Cincinnati. And even though he got JD's endorsement, he lost by more than 56 points.
I want to know. Who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
Kimmel unleashed a parody so sharp it turned JD Vance into a walking metaphor for misplaced ambition, staggering through the spotlight like he forgot his own script. Trump, meanwhile, spiraled in a cartoonishly dramatic frenzy, broadcasting chaos with the enthusiasm of a man trying to outrun his own headlines. The spectacle practically reviewed itself in real time for everyone watching.
With him, he wrote, Trump wasn't on the ballot and shutdown were the two reasons that Republicans lost elections tonight. Now, if Republicans had won and he wasn't on the ballot, would he take credit for that? Oh, yes, he definitely would, but he lost. And then he posted this. He posted, and so it begins, which was either a response to Mamdani winning the mayoral race or he just sat.
Kimmel fired shots with sniper-level precision, leaving Trump and Vance scrambling like they wandered into a roast unarmed. Every punchline hit harder than the last, turning their reactions into pure comedy cinema. Trump's frantic gestures and Vance's confused blinking only made Kimmel look sharper, calmer, and completely in control of the entire moment.
This morning, he threatened to delay SNAP benefits to the 42 million Americans who need them until the shutdown is over. And then his press secretary had to go out there and walk that back because he legally can't do it. It really is amazing. The president says one thing, the White House says another entirely different. It's like the one hand doesn't know what the other tiny, bruised, makeup-covered, greasy, genitalia-grabbing, sharpest-stained baby hand.
Kimmel drops one throwaway line about legacy, and Trump instantly free falls into a full existential tailspin, looking like he's being chased by his own scandals. JD Vance tries to hold steady, but every punchline hits him like a tidal wave. He forces a smile, but it's obvious. He's the nation's designated punchline, and the whole country is in on it.
Our leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because he can't take a joke. Now he's openly rooting for NBC to fire Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers and the hundreds of Americans who work for their shows who don't make millions of dollars. And I hope that if that happens, or if there's even any hint of that happening, you will be 10 times as loud as you were.
Michelle Obama walks in and the whole atmosphere shifts. No yelling, no theatrics, just that serene, unshakable composure that turns chaos into silence. With a few precise sentences, she dismantles bluster like she's gently reorganizing a messy bookshelf. Every word lands softly yet decisively, leaving Trump and Vance looking less defiant and more like kids stunned by a perfectly delivered truth.
Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is.
Trump tries to respond, but it's like watching a toddler argue with a professor, loud, confused, and doomed from the start. JD Vance looks spiritually exhausted, as if each polite pause from Michelle Obama drains another year of his confidence. The tension becomes its own spectator sport. Meanwhile, Kimmel conducts the chaos like an orchestra, firing off jokes with surgical precision. Every punchline detonates on impact, leaving Trump stumbling through half-thought comebacks. It's chess versus 4D laser tag, and only one side knows the rules. The audience is torn between laughter and disbelief, witnessing a political meltdown disguised as entertainment.
But also, hey, you just think about how cruel a person has to be to cut off food to 42 million people. It's the kind of thing that makes you go, oh, no wonder his kids are like that. The guy who never missed a Happy Meal in his life is deciding who gets to eat in this country. So after a federal court ordered them to do it, the Trump administration agreed to pay half the benefits, which is not enough. So
Michelle Obama's approach is quiet but devastating. No theatrics, no screams, no applause seeking. Just calm, unshakable logic that makes JD Vance look like he's explaining algebra to a cat. Every point lands. The silence that follows suffocates ego. Trump flails, Vance falters, and the audience leans in, mesmerized. Kimmel casually drops a reference to history, a concept Trump clearly doesn't grasp. His jaw slackens, eyes widen, as if realizing his Twitter feed isn't the most important record of civilization. Vance tries to follow, failing spectacularly. Kimmel presses harder, each observation sharper than the last, leaving no escape from comedic judgment.
A known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse, all of this while we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do, y'all. Please, do not hand our fates over to the likes of Trump, who knows nothing about us, who has shown deep contempt for us.
Michelle Obama observes with calm, as if realizing the experiment is hopelessly flawed. Each insight lands like a precise, unavoidable slap, graceful, firm, perfectly timed. By the end, Trump and JD Vance are emotionally evicted from their own egos. Kimmel hurls chaotic grenades, turning bluster into bewilderment, while Michelle delivers slow, eloquent demolitions that leave only truth standing. The brilliance lies in the contrast. Loud chaos meets quiet precision. Two forces, different in style, converge on the same target with devastating efficiency. Trump sputters, Vance shrinks, and the audience delights in the full spectrum of comedic carnage and intellectual mastery.
They see an entitlement that says only certain people belong here. That greed is good and winning is everything, because as long as you come out on top, it doesn't matter what happens to everyone else. And they see what happens when that lack of empathy is ginned up into outright disdain. They see our leaders labeling fellow citizens enemies of the state while emboldening torch-bearing white supremacists.
This isn't about popularity or polls. It's ego colliding with intellect, humor meeting poise, chaos facing control. Kimmel turns the room into a pressure cooker, while Michelle subtly cracks the lid, letting consequences simmer. By the end, only the faint smell of humiliation and echoing punchlines remain. Trump's disbelief is a masterpiece. JD Vance's confidence lies in ruins. Every attempt at recovery is like patching a sinking ship with duct tape, futile and revealing. Michelle's steady logic erodes arrogance like water on sand. Together, wit and wisdom leave no hiding place, proving that timing, intellect, and composure can dismantle even the most inflated egos.
It's not like Trump doesn't care about people. I mean, he has a lot of empathy. He's feeling especially bad right now for the family of the newly decrowned Jeffrey Epstein pal, the now former Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew in the UK has had his royal titles stripped away because of the Epstein scandal. I know you're closer to the royal family there. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I feel very badly. I mean, it's a terrible thing that's happened to the family. That's been a tragic situation. And it's bad.
Trump predictably flails, raising his voice and turning spectacle into absurd performance art. But it's futile. Kimmel's humor transforms every exaggeration into a punchline, while Michelle's composure converts rhetoric into a public case study of overreaction. JD's rare attempts at clarity vanish like whispers in a hurricane. The contrast is devastating. Chaotic comedy meets surgical insight. Kimmel obliterates with wit. Michelle dismantles with precision and grace. Together, they craft a universe where one side delivers unrelenting entertainment, the other unassailable clarity. Meanwhile, the targets flounder, trapped in the intersection of ridicule and revelation, exposed by timing, intellect, and impeccable poise.
According to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, Diddy is scheduled to be released on May 8th, 2028, just in time to run for president. And Diddy requested a pardon from President Trump. You know, every so often I say something on the show that would make no sense if I heard it in like 2014. And Diddy has requested a pardon from President Trump is one of those.
The audience watches, wide-eyed, because this is more than entertainment. It's a masterclass in confronting ego and absurdity without breaking a sweat. JD and Trump quickly learn that charm, bluster, and bravado only carry you so far. When wit meets wisdom, the results are unavoidable and brutally precise. Michelle delivers calm, surgical interventions that hit like intellectual hurricanes, while Kimmel punctures every exaggeration with relentless humor. The spectacle is part comedy, part existential reckoning. Pride and bluster crumble. JD Vance walks away shell-shocked, Trump storms off muttering, and the audience revels in the permanent exposure of ego, powerlessly dismantled.
For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hard-working, highly educated, successful people who happen.
The audience sits wide-eyed, witnessing a spectacle sharp, relentless, and exquisitely entertaining. In a quiet corner, Kimmel and Michelle's brilliance simply exists, poised, effortlessly cruel, and undeniably hilarious. JD's attempts at self-preservation are performance art in futility. Every word lands like trying to sell sand in the desert. Kimmel anticipates, preempts, and doubles down, each line a wrecking ball aimed at fragile egos. Trump reacts with outrage, confusion, and subtle desperation, realizing charisma alone cannot shield him from public annihilation. One side is calm, calculated, and devastatingly smart. The other thrashes, sputters, and wonders how humor could be so cruel.
I mean, that son of a bitch, you know, is really unbelievable.
Mr. Son of a bitch.
I mean,
Mr. Son of a bitch.
His loyal. Yes, yeah, no, I never imagined that we'd ever have a president like this, and I hope we don't ever have another president like this again. I never even imagined there would ever be a situation in which the president of our country was celebrating hundreds of Americans.
Somewhere in the middle, JD Vance flails, pretending none of this applies, even as the universe screams otherwise. Michelle Obama doesn't rush. Her precision is slow-burning, cumulative, unavoidable. Every pointed comment lands like a ton of bricks. By the end, the room is irreversibly altered. Trump's ego shrivels, JD's confidence evaporates. The audience witnesses a masterclass in intellect and poise annihilating arrogance. Kimmel delivers funhouse mirror chaos, Michelle's surgical, unassailable insight. Together, in separate orbits, they create a vortex of humiliation and revelation. Two forces, different yet equal, proving that when wit meets wisdom, nothing survives, leaving Trump and JD to gather what remains of their dignity.